Hello everybody, welcome to Success Defined. I'm Ben McDonald, and if you thought that starting a company was intimidating, how about starting, creating, and running two companies at the same time, overseeing all operations, all while managing and empowering 9 employees in 2 different locations? And that's what we have today in our conversation. So we are joined with Erin Padgett, and Erin runs and owns Erin Padgett Events, as well as Paige and Elliott Bridal Boutique. So we are going to jump into a lot of how you juggle a million different things at once.
Sure.
But I appreciate you being here with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I want to get to the start of your entrepreneurial kind of journey.
Yeah.
And what prompted you to even begin a company in the first place?
Sure. So my dad's an entrepreneur. So he owns a casting directing company. So he started kind of as an actor and worked his way up, and it became an entrepreneur and started his own company, and it's very successful. But I watched his schedule be incredibly flexible throughout day by day by day, where my mom worked in the school system. My mom was a guidance counselor, so she was like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, had her summers, and I was more drawn to the flexible life, not knowing it's not quite as flexible as you thought it would be, maybe, but I was drawn to it. And so I actually started working regular jobs. When I was in high school, I was working at a country club, so I got my taste and my foot in the door for events and weddings and things along those lines there. I just did banquet serving, worked there after school, that kind of stuff, and worked for other companies. So I've done corporate America. I worked at a marketing company before. Realized that I was tired of other people telling me what to do and how to spend my time. So decided I wanted to start my own thing. I actually was working at a printing company doing sales and marketing for a printing company and had some medical issues, and so had to leave work for a little while. And when it was time to go back to work, my husband was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, but I want to do it for me. Yeah. I don't want someone else to tell me what to do.
That's fair.
100%. So I was happiest when I was wedding planning. When I was younger, I was in college. I went to college full-time and wedding planned full-time for a country club. And so I just decided to start my own company. And so we were actually, my husband and I were at Five Guys restaurant having a meal when we were talking about this. And on the back of a receipt, I wrote like a pseudo business plan for the new wedding planning company. Swear to God, it's awful. Like, it's horrible. Like, this receipt's like, okay, I have to market. What's going to be the name? Like, what's a logo? Just like basics of starting a company. And so, like, nothing like having a burger and fries and being like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. So that was in 2013. So 2013, I started Erin Padgett Events, and I actually started it as Simply Southern Wedding and Event Design because I didn't want my name attached to it because I was hoping to have additional planners, and I didn't want that to feel like, it had to be me kind of thing. Well, there's Simply Southern, multiple companies with the name Simply Southern. So that did not work out. So it changed to Erin Padgett Events in 2015 and has been ever since. So that's kind of where that entrepreneurial started. I watched the flexibility that other people had. I didn't want other people to tell me when I could work, how I could work, when I could use the restroom, when I could make a phone call. And so that was a big piece of it when I started that.
So let's go back to that because you were able to see both sides.
Yeah.
Give us 1 or 2 lessons that you were able to take from growing up that you now can apply into your business?
Oh, it was interesting because I think I was jealous of what my father was able to do, where if he wanted to take a week off and go on vacation, he could. But he would work his tail off the week before so that he could go for a week. So one big piece that I took from that is to work your rear off every single day if it takes late evenings or hours or whatever it is, so that way you can drop everything for a week and really completely ignore it and release it. And he would literally leave work at the door. So instead of also checking email while on vacation or also doing this, he would literally shut it all off. And so that was a big lesson. That was like, if you're going to do that, you do it so rarely you take those vacations, completely shut it off.
Yeah,
and so
be all in the moment.
100%. And so from day one of my business, I never get work email on my phone.
Okay.
Never.
Interesting.
Never had it, never will have it. It enables me to have some sort of personal life as well. Giving your life to a bride is a lot. So it enables me to have a personal life. So one lesson for sure was, if you're going to do it, give it everything you've got and completely shut it off and create that separation, because it is such a personal connection there.
Is that a daily struggle for you, or have you been able to kind of get in a groove where you have some sort of balance?
It ebbs and flows. In the first couple years of the business, we weren't as busy, so it was a little easier to have that kind of a balance.
Which is a blessing and a curse.
Totally. And we have been, I've been very fortunate to have a team now and to be able to do that. But the balance act is really challenging. It's very, very hard. I don't take for granted that I'm I'm very close to a bride and her family, and it's one of the biggest days of her life. And so I don't take it for granted that I'm the last person she sees before she walks down an aisle. And so you create this bond where they become your best friend. So it's a challenge. Balance is like my word of the year. If you ever do words of the year, I do words of the year. Balance is my word for 2018. So I'm working on it. So, I set up a date night every Monday with my husband. I would put actual office hours and business hours of when I would be working, which was not something I had done before.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, but you take small baby steps.
Okay. Yeah. No, perfect. I like it. So you're a few years into the business.
Yep.
And you get a great idea of let's throw more on your plate.
Sure, why not?
So first off, where did the idea of the bridal boutique come in first? And then I've got a follow-up for it.
Yeah, totally. So a couple things. One, I wanted to do business with my husband. I wanted to go into business with my husband because he's a finance guy, so he had his own thing.
Right.
And I had the wedding planning, and he didn't really want much to do with wedding planning, which is fine. But I wanted to go in business with him. Two, I saw kind of a hole in the market. In being in the wedding industry for 3 years, when I did this, I saw the hole in the market of affordable bridal dresses, but at a boutique style where they got the customer service and the relationship and the connection that they would not receive at a big box store.
Okay.
And so the idea kind of came from, hey, I want to do something with my husband. Hey, I see this hole in the market and I like retail. Let's kind of put those two together.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where it came from. And I actually marinated on the idea for probably a year before I brought it to my husband, because he's a numbers guy like you are.
Right.
So he had to know, how would this work? What would the numbers like? So I had to prepare a pie chart and be like, here's how it would work. So I kind of marinated on it for a while, and then I trapped him in the car. We were on a trip, and I made him talk to me about it. So there you go.
You went through your whole pitch.
I did. I had a name. I explained it to him, the whole concept, everything. And if he had said no, he had said no. But fortunate he could understand where I was going from and was supportive. Yeah.
So there are a lot of people out there that see holes in markets and things like that. And they have a job or they have a business and they can't take that next step. So what gave you the confidence, or at least some sort of comfortability, to be able to say, yep, I can fully commit myself to two separate entities?
I think I'm glutton for punishment. I'm a workaholic, and if I'm going to do something, I do it 100%. I'm never going to do anything halfway. And so for me, it was listen to the gut and go for it. Right or wrong, I didn't have a guarantee. There was no guarantee it was going to work. There was no guarantee that it wasn't just going to fall flat. I did have the fallback of the planning job if things didn't go well.
Okay.
And I also already had an in the industry. So I already had kind of a sphere of influence. I already had people that I knew right there that were going to need something in the same industry that I was already in. And so that was another positive kind of in the pro column. Yeah. It was another check mark for that. I'm also just an impulsive human being, for the good or bad. Good and bad. And I'm also somebody who says, worst that'll happen is it fails. And if it does, you gave it everything you could. And if it fails, it fails. Okay. And you learn a lesson from it. Yep. And so it didn't take much for me to do it. I actually had the conversation with my husband in May, and we opened in November. So
it's a quick turnaround.
We were doing it.
Yeah.
I had the building in August. Talked to him at the end of May, and I had the building in August, and then we opened in November.
Okay. So you now jump into the second company,
yep.
and you've got two. Your word is balance for 2018, which is perfect with my follow-up.
Okay.
So where does that balance come from? Because, you want to give your all and everything to both companies, and they're in the same industry, so there's some crossover, of course, but they're different businesses.
Yep.
You have different responsibilities, different needs for each one. How do you balance the two different companies?
Sometimes it's better than others. A big portion is hiring the right people. Honestly, my employees at both of the companies are a massive piece of that, because I couldn't do what I do at both companies without them supporting it. And I have an all-female team. So there's 8 additional people plus myself. So sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But no, I couldn't do it without them. I also decided that for myself, there were 2 or 3 things in life that really mattered to me, and I wasn't going to get rid of them just because I was so busy with work. So a date night with my husband once a week, it had to stay, and I didn't care. And I respectfully would tell anyone who, unless you were dying, no, you do not need me on Monday. So that was one area of balance. A second area is when I'm off, I'm off. I will not work. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but everybody needs balance in life. Okay. And so those have been some areas. I think I'm in love with working. I am in love with feeling accomplished and feeling like I'm providing something to someone who needs it, whether it be retail versus services. So that part makes my heart sing.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like
for the
it.
good and the bad.
You had mentioned employees, so let's pivot into there. You manage 8 other people,
yes.
like you said, besides yourself, and you're not at that location all the time, so you can't micromanage, not like you would want to anyways.
Right.
But what's your approach towards handling employees?
Yeah, so it's a little different per company, and we do it that way, but I have a list of expectations up front, that here's what I expect from you, here's what you can expect from me, and if at any time one of those is not working, it's completely open door policy. I actually took all the doors off of all in my office. In the wedding planning office, there's like 4 or 5 places I pulled all the doors off, and that's stupid. I think it was in a movie one time, like, oh, my doors always open or something, but it's not like that. I just wanted it to feel more like we're a team. Okay. So very much, I tell the girls all the time, they laugh at me, I'm like, look, I might be driving the bus of this, but you're on the same seat as me. You're sitting right next to me on that. You're not behind me. You're not trailing in the back. You're not holding on to the back. You're right next to me, but I'm the one kind of driving it. So each of them, I empower each of them to make the business their own, that for them to feel accomplished about it, and for them to say, hey, I'm the face of Paige and Elliott. I'm the face of Erin Padgett events, so I need to, feel confident in that. So we do weekly staff meetings at both companies. I actually do a lot of events. We do a lot of fun activities together that are not work related at all. Yep. And it's a huge deal for us.
Because of the relationship and culture inside?
Yeah. 100% relationship. And we do with our spouses or significant others or friends, because we are together all the time. And what we offer in both the planning and in the bridal boutique is a very emotional time frame. Right. And it is very, very mentally taxing. It can be, and it's very emotionally taxing. We call ourselves, like, we joke that we're unlicensed family and marriage therapists because we constantly are that way. And so you need that release sometimes, and to be able to, get along with one another. And I have, knock on wood, I have yet to have any employee choose to leave me or choose to move to another job in what I've done. Yeah, in the 5.5 years. Thank you. I appreciate that. In the 5.5 years that I've been there, because I just want to create a really welcoming environment. Mm-hmm. And so everything is non-judgmental. And we have this joke that we say, if I have to discuss something with them, a business-related situation that occurred or something that didn't go right, then instead of looking at them friend to friend, I'll look at them and say, look, we need to have a business discussion. And then they know it's not personal. I'm not attacking you. You're not attacking me. It's not a personal situation. It's, hey, this occurred from a business standpoint. Can occur again. Here's what you can learn from it, kind of thing. But I'm really big on team building and camaraderie that we have there, and big on each person taking their ownership of what they're doing.
Yeah. So you've mentioned team a couple times in that answer. Let's look at your event planning company a little bit, because I believe you're the only or one of the only wedding planning or event planning companies in the area where you actually work as a team.
Correct.
So can you go into how that has led to success in the business?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect and everyone's human, and just expecting one person to handle every minute detail of something is daunting, especially when it comes to a wedding, because so many brides and moms and dads and grooms, everyone's like, oh, it's the most important day. And we're like, it is, but it isn't. It's a very important day, but there are going to be lots of important days in your life. A great example is just, there was a wedding one time that I was supposed to be there, and I got food poisoning. And I couldn't be. I'm at the hospital up in IV. I can't do anything about it. And my team was there to stand up. And so not a beat was missed. And so someone else was there. Secondly, I don't know as much as by myself as our team would. So I hired girls who all had different backgrounds and facets, so that we would be with a different core.
So they complement your 100%. Strengths instead of everybody having the same strength?
We are not the same at all. And we do I do personality profiles and get to know them and things like that, which are really fun. And, one of the girls has a background in graphic design. So she's incredibly detail-oriented, photographic, and she looks at things from a design perspective very differently than I would. Another girl has a background in rentals and corporate events. So she focuses more on overall layouts and corporates, and so that's a whole different ballgame as well. So having all of us work together, not only is it nice because we can feed off of each other, but it makes the bride feel more confident that, heaven forbid something were to happen, there's always somebody else there that they can talk to be able to help them.
Okay. And let's go into empowerment a little bit, because of the separation and the fact that you're not there all the time. What was a tipping point, or what gave you the comfortability to be able to take a step back and say, this is your responsibility, and you run with it, instead of having to be alongside them holding their hands all the time? Yeah. Because I think a lot of business owners and managers, they struggle with that. They say, yeah, we want to empower employees and things like that. But at the end of the day, they have a vision for how they think it should be done. So they're going to step in and interact all the time. And I know you do a great job of not doing that.
Well, you're sweet. I think most business owners are a little bit controlling in that way, that we like things a particular way. A little OCD. That's why we own our business. And so I think that was a hard release. What I did is I call it the style shoot test, which anyone who's not in the wedding industry has no idea what I'm talking about. But it is basically a fake wedding setup.
Okay.
That happens that you see in magazines. So if you look at bridal magazines or blogs online and, oh, these people look beautiful and look at this table and this invitation, it's all fake. It's not real, right? Yeah. So that is what I do. That's what they're required to do. They're required to do an entire style shoot by themselves from start to finish. And that, if they can take a style shoot, and I give them a certain time frame. And within a style shoot, you have to talk to 5 to 6 vendors, coordinate timelines, details, logistics, manage everything from start to finish, provide the final proofing, communicate properly. Yep. If you can handle that portion on a small scale, then you're learning and can handle that on a large scale. So anyone that comes to me first time, they have to do a style shoot to begin with. That's their first test at the planning company. Yep. And then I give constructive feedback at the end of that. Say, hey, look, here's what worked really well. Here are things that could work a little bit better. And so that was really easy for me to see, especially my one full-time girl over there is just stellar. Just I'm like, please don't leave me ever. She's just amazing. And she, not only did she do a style shoot, she did 2 in the same day because she's an overachiever, because that's what she is. But it was able for me to go, I don't have to deal with this. I know she's going to be able to take charge of this, but I'm here if she needs to fall back.
Okay.
That way. So I do the style shoot test over there.
Yeah.
It works. We've had some that didn't work and some that did. Yeah. So it tends to work, and it gives them confidence and empowers them to feel like, look what I've done. Like, look what I've accomplished. And I have a list as a checklist that says, here's all the things that you need to do, and here's the time frame you give. I give you deadlines. Because I need to make sure that if you can provide a deadline to me, then you're going to be able to do the same thing to a client.
And then it also shows you if and when you do need to jump in and give assistance to an employee because, hey, the deadline's coming up and they're not ready for it, or something passes and didn't get done.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But it gives them, even something as small as a style sheet, it gives them the ability to feel like that they've accomplished it on their own, and that I wasn't micromanaging, or that I wasn't standing over their shoulder the whole time. And I just go and support them because it's a test. Yeah. And they get nervous as normal when your boss is standing over your shoulder. You're nervous, but I very much just in the background and do nothing but congratulate. Give some. My mom taught me the sandwich method, where you give really, you probably have heard this, really, really positive, something kind of crappy in the middle with something really, really positive on the end. Yep. And so I have done that the entire time with all of my employees. Here's some great things, here's the kind of not so great, and we're going to finish it up on really great things. And it makes it really easy. Girls are emotional in general and can be a little more sensitive. I'm one of them, it's okay. And so managing 8 of them, you have to kind of monitor that a little bit too. Yep. So that's what we do over there. We do the style shoot test.
Yep. No, I love it. Ton of great takeaways for how to handle employees and work with people, because it's not, you say handling employees, but it's not really that. It's really working with them and alongside them so they can be the best for themselves and for the company.
Yeah. To me, they're my team members. I don't ever call them employees. I mean, they are on my taxes, but in general, that's my team. And they feel that way. And so they just feel like I'm a team leader. I am a boss, and they get that, but it's very much just team related. And so everyone feels really comfortable, and there's no competition or cattiness, which can unfortunately happen, in some stuff. But you never know what someone's capable of doing until you give them a shot to do it. Yeah. So I'm not going to stand over you. I'm just going to let you try. Mm-hmm. If you fail, we'll learn from that,
Yep. No, perfect. Love it. Let's pivot a little bit and get pretty practical. What is one tool that you would not want to do business without? Just something you rely on all the time in your business today.
Oh, that's a really good question. I was not prepared for that one. I'm sorry. I was not prepared for that one. I mean, if you're talking about something tangible versus...
You can give us both. That's fine.
Common knowledge.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah. Common knowledge is what I would say is something that we cannot live without.
And so is that making sure that you're constantly keeping up and growing as far as learning different things and stuff like that? Or is it just getting hands-on experience?
A little both, I think. Yeah, I think a little bit of both, but just common sense, common knowledge, just knowing right from wrong, knowing black from white, what's up, what's down, and just understanding that will get you so far, I think, in life than anything else. I'm a very black and white person. It is or it isn't, it's right, it's wrong. And so when the gray world is very challenging for me, I know the world's gray, whatever, but it's challenging for me in that part. If it's not something tangible, I think common sense or common knowledge is totally one of the best things that I could not do without, and none of my team members. They all have to have that same thing. If you don't have the common sense to know right from wrong or what you should or shouldn't be doing, we're already at a bad foot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a tangible idea or not?
I was going to say this and it sounds horrible. Like, I'm kind of. I am still very much a planner person, a notebook planner person. Okay. I go with pen and paper with me everywhere I go. And I take my phone, which I'm not attached to it, but for photos. You can find inspiration anywhere. So I literally I have a little tiny notepad in my purse with a pen attached to it that if an idea comes to me, oh my gosh, whether it's an idea for my team, for a client, for whatever it may be, I jot everything down and then I take pictures of stuff to remind myself. So that's like tangible in my purse. I know men don't have purses, but put it in your car or something. But you can figure it out. But tangible, just because you never know what you're going to hear or who you're going to find, and then like untangible, just pure common sense in life.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's now go into principles and philosophies. We got a few finishing questions.
Sure.
The first one, so I've talked on here a lot of having pillars in your life, things that you want to work towards. Is there anything that you have in your life that you know it's connected to your success, or you want to make sure that is a staple in your life?
Yeah, on a personal level, I'm not a mother yet, but being a mother is a staple that will need to be in my life. That is something that's a personal level for me that will make me feel successful. Okay. I will feel successful to have been a mother and raised however many children, God chooses to let that occur. So from a personal level, that's one of my pillars in that. Okay. The balance pillar needs to be there. And for me, it's not just balance in work. It's a work-life balance. I'm balancing enough so that my husband and I have time together. I have time with my family, my friends, because they're very important to me. I've always said that you can't take work with you when you die. But the impression that I want to leave is that I did as much as I could. I helped as many people as I could. And that at the end of the day, my family and friends still really loved me. And so my pillar is more probably personal than work related for success. I love what I do. It's super enjoyable. On paper, it's very successful, and I get that. But for me, my success comes really much outside of work related. I know this is a business podcast, but
doesn't matter. It's not really a business podcast.
But mine is really personal. I will say that I do feel incredibly successful on a business level. I'm a words of encouragement and words of affirmation is my love language. So words is where I feel really, really successful in business. So whether it be a team member of mine, a client of mine, a former client, a colleague, whoever it is, any sort of words that you've done a good job or this is amazing, that's where I feel the success.
Okay, great. So the next one is going to be, what is one thing that you see going on today, could be in business, could be whatever, that you would want to change?
In my business, one big thing that I would want to change, I have 2 separate offices right now. So I have the wedding planning office at one location and I have the bridal shop at another. Eventually, I would like to put them in the same building. Okay. So I would like to maybe have an office upstairs and the bridal shop downstairs or something, for convenience in my life, having everything in one location. But for 2, it's really cool because even though they're 2 separate businesses, they do, they intermingle. Yeah. And so, from a business standpoint, over the next few years, I'd like to bring them together, keep them as separate entities, but bring them together into the same building, so it's in kind of almost not like a one-stop location underneath the roof. Because we do the groom stuff too. So having it all in one section would be really cool. Okay,
so this is called Success Defined. Yep. So obviously, I ask every time, how do you in your life define success?
I know you prepped me too and told me I was going to ask this.
It's the name of the show.
I'm like, crap, you prepped me, and I still don't know. Honestly, I think my success is defined 2 ways. One, my own personal feelings on it. When I look in the mirror, what have I done, or how do I feel about myself and my self-confidence and my self-image and where I'm at, and rate that. If I'm on a 1 to 10, where do I rate myself in that? And I feel like anything basically 7 or above, you're doing real freaking good. You had a good day. A C is passing, right? You did good. So that's one level. On the second level for success in business, I feel successful, like I said, with the words. So the more that I hear positive interactions, and not even necessarily for me. That's great when people tell me how wonderful, but anybody on my team. Of the 8 other girls to hear.
When a bride comes back and raves about what one of your employees did.
When somebody writes a review, or when somebody requests somebody. They met, Ashley at a bridal show and they request to work with her because she was so great. Or they send me messages and tell me how amazing people are. They hug us at the door and they just tell me. And so as wonderful it is for me to be praised, having all the girls that work beneath me, hearing anything from them, that makes me feel successful, because not only have I done that for me, I've done it for them. And I'm the livelihood for a huge chunk of these. Most of these girls don't have other jobs. And so I become their livelihood. So to feel like, look at what I've accomplished to be able to do that for someone else, totally how I feel it. Yeah.
Great.
100%.
All right, final one. This
Okay.
can be personal, professional, doesn't matter.
Okay.
You and I are sitting here 3 years from now.
Yeah.
What's happened in that 3-year period where you can look back and say that was a successful period?
I would like to continue to grow, but cap it at a certain level. So if I get to 12 to 15 employees, that's where my cap is. That's where I would like to be. Between the two companies. Okay. Yeah. However that would occur and break out, I'm totally fine. That to me, and they're, a solid team of people that really love what they do and enjoy it. Having both businesses under one roof, for sure. That's a big piece that I feel like would make me feel a lot more successful. And being able to support financially more from my husband so that he can do more things that he really wants to do in life and we can take more vacations and spend more time together, that's another piece of success. So that's the 3.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you and any sort of follow-up that you would want them to go, anything like that.
Yeah, awesome. So Erin Padgett Events and Paige and Elliott Bridal Boutique are both in Huntersville. You can check us both out online. But it's really cool because not only do we do weddings, but any event. We do corporate events, birthday parties. We actually have a divorce party coming up, which is kind of sad, but I guess it's full circle. If you needed to. But yeah, we just start from a business standpoint. I'd say continue to listen to podcasts too. If they don't currently, continue to listen and read blogs. And it's crazy, but go and read, even if you're not in the wedding industry, go pick up some business wedding blogs. It's amazing just how tactical those items are for any business anywhere. So that's what I would say.
That's great. And we'll put things in the show notes too, like your website and stuff like that.
You're sweet. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks.
I appreciate it.
All right.